Well, most people just look at me as the guy that runs and yells as he's running. And that's, while I do that, to motivate people, but people don't understand that my day is broken up into segments. I work out, I eat, I sleep, but I spend most of my time studying. So like, I'm in the medical world, I'm a paramedic in Canada, but I spend a lot of my time trying to nuke every single thing about it, because I'm not trying to just be a paramedic, learn about veins and arteries and how the heart pumps and stuff like that. I'm trying to learn to the point where I can save someone's life. And even though paramedics are doing that all over the world, I'm trying to be that paramedic that can really dissect exactly what's going on and figure out, what medication goes where. Just trying to learn, the algorithm of what's going on, man. So I spend a lot of time with it. I'm not a real smart guy. And what I mean by that is I was born with ADD, ADHD. My brain cannot retain information. I'm not some genetic freak when it comes to running, when it comes to lifting weights. I am absolutely the bottom of the barrel. And people will never believe me. And they can just, whatever, believe what you want to believe. So when you ask me this question about what does studying look like for me, I have to go over the same page over and over and over and over again. While Jennifer can look at that page, while she's, quizzing me, she'll learn it right then as she doesn't know anything about it. She will quiz herself or quiz me and learn it as she's quizzing me. It's the most frustrating thing in the world how my brain works. So what I do is I literally sit there with a pen and paper, and I have my books, and I go through and have to write everything down every single day. I will study the same page until it's photographic memory from writing the same thing down. And then from there, I'll go back through and relearn again. So I'll learn the bulk of it, but then I'll go through and learn the small things within that. So if it's a medication, I'll learn what the medication does. I'll learn how to even say the medication. Because these medications aren't like albuterol. No, it's very big words. So I'll go through, learn how to say the name. Then I'll go through, learn what the dose is. Then I'll go through, and this is like every single day. So not like, oh, I got it. Let's just go through. No, nothing is I got it. Every single thing. So I can't wait to get in this conversation, because everything I do in life, it sucks. Everything I do in life, it sucks. That's why when I was 300 pounds and 24 years old, it wasn't like I had some big epiphany of, let's just go be a Navy SEAL and let's lose some weight. No, I knew my entire life was going to be a struggle, which is why I just ignored it. And I said, I'm not even trying to jump off into this and learn how to read, how to write, how to memorize, how to become something I am not. But through that process, something happened to me. And I realized this is why I feel sorry for no one. People are going to think that I am maybe lying or maybe fibbing or exaggerating. No, I was the lowest form on earth, no talent, no ability to learn. And I literally know what it is to be rock bottom and to build that up. So that question about learning, it's a pain in my ass. And I don't have to do it. It's the thing about it. I'm 49 years old and I'm a multi-millionaire. I don't have to do anything. So all I thought about when I was growing up is, man, I can't wait to one day get to the point where I no longer have to do this stuff. But what happens, as I got older, it became a way of living. So how I do every day is how I do every day. It's a discipline, it's a regimen, it was a choice I made. And the choice I made was, what are you willing to sacrifice and what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are as a human being? And I was willing to give up everything to do that. So studying is no joke. How my mind is wired now is that everything I do is what I do. Because the focus it takes for me to, like right now, I'm running. I'm not like a great runner. I'm not like injury free. So like my first 20 minutes of the run, I'm limping. I'm literally limping because I've had several knee surgeries and my body was twisted And so now it's untwisting. So people look at me, oh, it looks like he's limp, like limping when he runs. I am limping when I run. My body's jacked up, so I'm focusing on how to get the best out of a broken body. So everything I do is a total focus on what I'm doing at that point in my life. Like when I was going through school, I'll never forget, I think I was in 3rd grade. And back then, ADD, ADHD wasn't like, here's this medicine, or here's this thing. They want to put you in a special school. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was so far behind in learning that their big thing was, let's just put him in a special school because he'll never learn. And through that process of like, I don't want to be in a special school. I don't want to be treated any differently. It really, I never took medication. I've never taken medication for this. That's why right now you see me looking right in your eyes. What the hell is you've been saying right now? And that's why I don't feel bad for people who have ADHD, who have learning disabilities. And some are impossible because you just can't. But a lot of them you can. But people don't want to go through the process of focus, of teaching yourself how to truly focus. This is where my message gets lost. It gets lost because I may say, MF or F, I may be, because that's the passion that comes out of me, because it takes everything for me to learn a sentence. So when I speak about David Goggins, I can't speak about David Goggins in a way that's just calm and cool. Because when I wake up, I know the journey that it takes for me to find my greatness. And it's hard. Nothing is easy. Nothing just like, I wake up and I just do this or I do that, or it just, I watch people every day go through life and it's so easy. For me to be where I'm at today, it takes every bit of me. So when I speak about it, and as I get going here, you'll start seeing me, the tempo will rise, the passion will come out, because I'm back there. I'm doing what I do every day to become a human being. And so nothing is easy. Like running is running. It sucks, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes. It takes that misunderstanding of people, and they'll never get it because they were never David Goggins. So that is what it takes for me to do what I do. It may take you something differently. So for me, everything has to be in the study. Everything has to be into this. Everything has to be, and everywhere I am, it has to be there. Me, focused where I am. If I want to be great, I'm not trying to maximize money or maximize people knowing me. I do these things because maybe someone out there will understand me and get it and say, I can grow from this guy, and others just won't. The biggest misunderstanding about David Goggins of all time, it's like, whether you believe in God or not, I do. He put this lab rat, which is me, on this planet and said, let me see what a beat up, abused kid who can barely learn, who has a twisted body, messed up genetics, sickle cell, this and that. Let me give him everything that pretty much disqualifies you from the military. But back then, it wasn't as strict. And let's put him in this and see what comes out of it. So to do that, friction, you don't wake up in the morning time and go to the coffee maker. Matter of fact, sometimes you don't even sleep. What it requires is when I'm at 2 o'clock it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and my brain is thinking about a drug. And I got to get up and look in my book to see if that drug is, how I remember it. And this is every day of my life. That's why when I train a fighter or I train someone, I'm like, you have no idea how great you really are. Because you are using such minimal of what you have. And if people can learn to focus, this is what's possible. While it may not be pretty, like people want to do a documentary on me. I go, no. I don't want you to do a documentary on me. Because I will have normal, everyday people picking me apart. Oh, his life is miserable. Who wants to live like that? It's crazy how it's almost like he's sick, he's psychotic. The most frustrating thing in the world for me is when normal people judge a man like myself on what it really takes to extract greatness from nothing. It takes every bit of who you are if you choose that route. If you don't, Merry Christmas, do what you got to do. Well, it was pretty crazy for me. It took a while to get to that point where enough was enough. What happened is I came home one night from work spraying for cockroaches. And long story short, I turned on the Discovery Channel. I saw some guys going through Navy SEAL training. And they were going through Hell Week and they were getting their ass just beat. You know, in and out of the water, guys ringing the bell. They were just suffering. And I was weighing like 297 pounds. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change. Well, for me, growing up, I came from a horrible background. I got caught every day of my life growing up, lived in a small town. The Klan headquarters at that time was about 20 minutes from where I lived. One of the high ups in the KKK, son, sat behind me in 2 classes, so he called me all the time. I got my first car, they spray painted, we're gonna kill you on it. So I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. No one was helping me out. So my dad made my mom kind of irregular. So she worked 3 jobs, went to college full time, so she was never around. One time this person drew a picture of me and said, "We're gonna kill you," on my Spanish notebook. And I took it to my principal. And my principal said, "They spelled nigger." That was the best advice he can give me. So long story short, what I realized was no one was here to help me. And the feeling I had every morning, I started shaving my head when I was 16 years old. And the feeling I had every morning, I looked in the mirror, was horrible. And I didn't want to feel like that anymore. And how I felt was a kid going nowhere, a kid that was scared. And most kids will accept that and look for help. But the best thing that happened to me, no one helped me. No one felt sorry for me. No one looked at me and said, like this day and age, they'll take you in and they'll tell everybody, stop picking on this person. Back then, they didn't care. The KKK marched in our 4th of July parades. They had to stay 100 yards back, but they marched in it.
Wow.
That's how this town was. And my mom cared about me, but my dad took our soul. And she did the best she could. I had to figure out I wasn't gonna be a punk kid all my life. So the only way I could turn it around was to suffer. I had to build calluses in my brain the same way I built calluses on my hands. So I broke the Guinness Book of World Records for pull-ups a long time ago, but I failed at it twice. And I did 67,000 pull-ups in trying to break this record. So to do 4,030 pull-ups, I had to do 67,000 for training for that.
Wow.
And so what I realized is for me to become the man I wanted to become, I saw myself as the weakest person God ever created. But I never blamed God for anything he did to me. So I wanted to change that to be the hardest man ever created. Am I that? I don't know, but you had to have a goal. And my goal when I was sitting there, not going to school, being bullied, having no self-esteem, my goal was the only person that's gonna turn this person around is me. The only way I can turn it around is put myself through the worst things possible a human being can ever endure. And that'd be the only way that I can build this brain to handle anything that comes in front of it, callousing my mind through pain and suffering. So we read a bunch of books nowadays. As humans, we want to find out how to be someone else. What we don't do is we don't go inside. So literally turn yourself inside out. Read the book that says, like we're writing a book every day of our lives, but we never read that book. So what I would challenge this young man or young woman to do is you have to look inside of yourself to see what you really want. What are you passionate about? We use these words and these little phrases of only the strong survive and all this other crap. They're all just words. I get so tired of hearing people just talking. Like right now, someone may think Goggins is just talking. You don't know me. So when I speak from passion, I speak from experience, I speak from suffering. I have to tell this young man or woman that the only way I believe, this is my experience in life, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. And some people will get it and some people won't. But they have to see what their journey is to start their journey. Several people live to be 100 years old and they have great lives and they have great kids. Their kids go to college and all sort of stuff. But somewhere in their life, there was a point where they had a decision to make. They can go left or right on this path. Left was the easy route. Right was the hard route. A lot of people take the easy route. And they had a good life that way, but the better life was going to the right side. And you may have 20 years of pain and suffering to get past it, but a lot of us die never truly starting our journey. And I would tell this young person, you gotta start your journey. It may suck, but it will come out the other side where you're coasting. Every day, we're seeing who we are as people. When I was growing up, I lied for people to accept me because I didn't accept myself. So I would make up stories so then you would accept me into your world. I would, everything I did was for someone else to like me. It wasn't until I started reading my own book about how pathetic I was as a human being. I can blame my dad, I can blame kids at school, I can blame having health issues, ADD, my mom not being around. Great mom, but she was doing her thing. Right. I could blame a lot of people. And that's the book I was reading. And I put it off on everybody else. It wasn't until I said, you know what, for me to fix this, I gotta read what the f is wrong with David Goggins. Not blame anybody. Read my book and say, okay, I'm afraid of my shadow. How can I overcome that? Go in the military, get your ass kicked, do things you hate to do. Be uncomfortable every day of your life. Roger that. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. Okay. Instead of somebody saying, oh no, you're smart. No, don't say that to yourself. I said to myself, no, I'm a dumb motherfucker. Okay, roger that. How you get smarter? Educate yourself. So the things that we run from, we're running from the truth. We're running from the truth, man. So the only way I became successful was going towards the truth. As painful and as brutal as it is, it changed me. It allowed me to become, in my own right, who I am today. A human being is not so human anymore. We have the ability to go in such a space if you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer. Your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. And this 30 miles was the life-changing moment. I was out of it. I was in the worst pain in my entire life. I was, to me, on the brink of death. And I was able to chunk this 30 damn miles into small pieces. I was so driven, and I'm not gonna say motivated because motivation's crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed. So I sat in this chair and I was so driven to succeed in this race. And at this time, everybody goes, were you thinking about the guys that died? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't. This became a personal thing. This became me against this race, me against the kids that called me against me. It just became something that I took so violently personal. And I broke this thing down into small pieces. I said, okay, I gotta get nutrition. I gotta be able to stand up before I can get off this curb and get off this chair and be able to go 30 miles. So I went through all these small steps and I was able to stand up. And then from standing up, I was literally walking around with my wife at the time, and she goes, you're not gonna make the time. She goes, you're walking like 30-some minute miles. I got to mile 81, and the second she said that I'm not gonna make the time, I ran the last 19 miles, nonstop. Right now, for you to find greatness in yourself, you're not gonna find it by looking in a book or by even hearing me. I may give you the spark, but you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Shut the go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you gotta go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why? There's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was given 100%. I wasn't, but I was only 1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life that I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays, because most motherfuckers are weak. Basically, I made a decision about 23 years ago that I was a loser. I call myself a born loser. I don't feel that way now, but that's how I felt a long time ago. And I made a decision to go all the way in. And a lot of us have this mindset of balanced. It's important. We all have family, a lot of us have kids, a lot of us have wives, husbands, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, all that shit. But if you want to be part of that 1%, which I know all of you want to be, I'm sorry to say, you gotta throw that balance shit in the wind. The only way you can do it is if you go all the way in and talk to your family and say, I'll be home, but not today. So the thing about it is, the unbalanced mind allows you to do everything at a level that most can't even fathom. They look at you, they see you grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, and while they are at this mediocre level, you slowly rise and rise and rise. I call it front loading. If a lot of you right now want to be the best, you front load your life. So then that family that you were unbalanced with, you bring them on board when you're 40, 50, and 60 and say, okay, now I'm home forever because I'm making this ton of money, or whatever the hell you're trying to do. So it's all about that mindset of how hard you want to go. And a lot of people come up here and talk to you about a lot of bullshit, and they go home and they write shit to motivate you. Right now, I'm a 47-year-old smoke jumper out of British Columbia. I took 5 days off of jumping fires. I'm a retired man, got a shit ton of money, but it ain't fucking enough. I still must grind. It's never enough. There's zero finish line. Because once again, you all are here for a reason. And the thing about it, a lot of you, trust me, what I say, don't take it personal, because I don't know anybody in here besides this man. So if I say something and it's not who you are, just ignore me. Don't come up to me after this shit's over and give me your life story about, hey man, you was wrong about me. I don't know the fuck you are. I'm just talking in general fucking terms. But what I'm trying to say here is the reason why I did not succeed in the first 24 years of my life is because I hadn't developed belief. And this isn't some after school special, some Sesame Street shit that you look, oh, believe in yourself. Your mom and dad, you wake up, believe in yourself. That ain't it. People think, why the fuck are you running 100-mile races, 200-mile races, breaking pull-up records? Why are you a smoke jumper at 47 with all this fucking money? The way I build belief, I have to do it at that level because of the darkness in which I came from. A lot of you came from a lot of different places and have zero belief. That is something you're not going to get from a book, and you're not going to get from some motivational speaker. I get it from hours and hours and days and decades of being in the grind. So when my time comes, when I fail and I fail and I fail, I go back to that big ass belief that I've built myself, and I know I will make it. So whatever your belief is, however you gain that belief, I gain mine by going into the damn dungeon and staying there. So whenever I need that and I'm getting my ass kicked, I go back into the belief jar, pull out that belief. So whatever you guys got to do that, that is a necessary thing to do. The big thing for me is we're all 1% away. And that's the one thing I didn't realize when I was younger coming up. I put everybody on a fucking pedestal because of how I came up. Oh, this person's smarter than me, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the whole story. But when I sat back and I failed out of the Air Force trying to be a pararescueman, and I gained all that weight, and I was some fat ass 300-pound pest control guy spraying for cockroaches. This is when I came up with we're only 1% away from true greatness. I'm sitting there And I'm the same dude that I was that quit pararescue. And now I'm a 300-pound fat ass. And then 3 months later, I'm trying out to be a fucking Navy SEAL. Lost 106 pounds. So what I came up with was there's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was giving 100%. I wasn't. But I was only 1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life that I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. It's that 1% that we wake up in that morning, we're like, you know what? Not today, maybe tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays, because most motherfuckers are weak.
For real.
And if all you do is when you are trying to hit that motherfucking snooze button on life, not in the morning, on life, just know this, all the it takes is thinking about all those weak motherfuckers who are taking a day off. And trust me, you will come up real fast. Like I say, it's easy to be great nowadays because motherfuckers are just weak, very soft. Everybody says, man, you started this crazy shit. I don't know what the fuck they're even talking about when I started, but I didn't start anything. Let's say there's just one person dancing alone, doing some crazy, stupid ass dance. It's not the person that started that dance that is the hero. It's that second motherfucker that joins them. Because then everybody knows it's okay. So it wasn't really me. It was that second motherfucker who followed me on Instagram that started this shit. So it could be him, who knows? But see, that's the thing about it. So you guys right now are following his lead. That's how this starts. It's never the leader. It's always the first follower that starts all this shit. Everybody in this stadium has a savage mentality. It's a primal instinct, whether you believe it or not. We all have it. I'm trying to hurt every mother feelings in the world. Anybody who thought I wasn't going to be somebody, it's never enough. Like a dog. I got a little bulldog at home, and I can't feed that mother enough food. He will eat, she will eat until she's dead. That's me. I leave no scraps on the table for anyone to pick up. And that's the mentality that you must have if you want to be great. And the thing about greatness is this. The sad thing about it, most of us never even think about it because we don't believe it's even in our arena. We think greatness is Michael Jordan or Tom Brady or Serena Williams, wherever the fuck it is. People have a lot of money. You have to put that shit in your Rolodex. Until you start to think that way, whatever you think about, trust me, it will become exactly who the fuck you are. I want to be the hardest motherfucker ever lived. Am I that? It doesn't matter. I don't care. That was my goal when I was a 300-pound piece of shit. I think I'm not too far away from that motherfucker now.
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They want to, they see me now. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. And what got me to this point was I was just the opposite of what I am today. I was that guy who ran away from absolutely everything that got in front of me. But not many people knew that. I had two people. Like the real me was like this very scared, insecure, stuttering, got beat up by his dad, all this kind of stuff. And I built this fake person that walked around like my shit didn't stink, you know? Right. Yeah, so that's kind of how I did it. And through a process of time, I realized that I was lying to myself and lying to people. It's a long process.
Right.
My dad beat the shit out of me when I was growing up. I was the first black baby born in this hospital called Miller Fillmore in Buffalo, New York. My dad owned skating rinks, he owned bars, he ran prostitutes from Canada to Buffalo, New York. My dad was a big time pimp, big time, anything bad about a person, big time hustler. He was American, you know that movie with Denzel Washington? He was that, but not that bad.
Right.
You know, he wasn't that big, but that's what it reminds me of. He was that kind of guy. And beat the shit out of me, beat the shit out, out of my mom. There was an incident one time when my mom got knocked out on top of the stairs, and he drug her down the stairs by her hair. And at 6 years old, I'll never forget this. In my mind, I was always afraid. My whole life I was afraid, but I had this fucking voice, this conscience that would always be battling me, saying, hey, you gotta get up and do something. I didn't want to do shit. I was just afraid, but that voice would force me to get up. And my dad, I tried to beat him up, whatever, at 6, and I get my ass kicked. So this went on for several years. And I have a big time learning disability because my dad didn't believe in us going to school. So my dad, it was about the business, the skating rink and the bar. So the skating rink opened about 7 o'clock at night. And this is when the time I was able to walk. So about 4, 5, 6 years old, 8, 9. And I'd go to this, skating rink at 7 o'clock at night. And I worked the skating rink until 10 at night. And then we would scrape the gum off the floors and we cleaned the whole skating rink up. And then my dad had an office. And my brother and myself would sleep in the office. And my mom would go upstairs and work the bar until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they cleaned the bar up. So after all that done with, going to school rarely happened. So when I went to school, I was all kind of, my learning disability. I had social anxiety. I was just a jacked up kid from living in this tortured home. From the outside looking in, we lived in an all-white neighborhood, and then we would travel to the ghetto of Buffalo, New York, where the skating rink was at. So we worked around mostly blacks, and I lived around mostly whites, but no one knew what was going on in that house on 201 Paradise Road. It's crazy. But my mom got courage to finally leave him when I was about 8 years old. We moved to a small town in Brazil, Indiana, and that's when the real war started for me. I didn't want to get back in that damn water again. So the fear overcame me, and all my insecurities from my dad, from this small town, from everything started coming back. And even though no one knew how fucked up I was, I created this other person who was tough, I lived with this shit all the time. So me not wanting to go back in that water, the doctor called me back up. I thought I was gonna get like a medical kick out of the military. So no quitting for me. They'll kick me out so I can have some pride. The doctor said, no, man, we could put you back in the training. And I was like, but after a week, I'm like, you know what? I missed 1 week. There's only 3 weeks left. There's a good chance, I could tough this shit out and go on. But I went back to the CO and the commanding officer of the program, and the sergeant said, hey, you got to start from day 1 because you missed, that week of training. And I broke. I couldn't imagine going back through that again. So I made up a lie. And I said, man, the sickle cell thing is really scaring me. It was the water, it wasn't sickle cell. And I pretty much quit. Even though they gave me a medical, I quit. So from the age of 19 to the age of 22, I went and did a job called TAC-P, where you control fast movers behind enemy lines. Cool job, but there's no water. I was afraid of the water, so I avoided it. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300, to 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was just trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone. So I got out of the Air Force, and I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24, and spraying at different steak and shakes, Red Lobster, whatever, from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. And what changed, I came home and watched this Discovery Channel show, Class 224. I came home from Steak and Shake. I sprayed it down last, get a big old large 42-ounce shake, walk across the street and get a box of mini donuts from 7-Eleven, and I would drive home for 45 minutes. This big old fat guy who, yeah, I worked out, but I was fat. I didn't run, didn't PT, I just hit the gym. So driving home, turn the TV on, and what comes on, Discovery Channel show, and that's where everything changed for me. I was taking a shower, I walked out, heard these guys, and I watched the show, and it made me reflect big time on the piece of shit that I am, and I'm exactly what people said I was gonna be. And I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright just crushing myself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was, we gotta go out there. Anything that was horrible in my life that I would normally say no, that was inhumane to most people, I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight. And I went back to recruiter. I got into that class, and I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through. The next 2 I did. And that I just didn't. I didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that the mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins, and I created Goggins. And that journey is a priceless journey that is hard for me to even explain to people, because it sounds so quick and easy. Like, I lost this weight, and I went through 3 Hell Weeks, I went to Ranger School, went to Delta Force Selection, whatever it is. It was brutal. It's a brutal journey every day. And everybody goes, well, are you happy? If anybody knows my life story, and I'll try to give you just a snippet of it, where I'm at today is in front of Joe Rogan telling you my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now, there's nothing but pride I have for myself that I can't really show people. Because I have this face that they see, like, are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. So my first run, when I decided to lose the weight, I was, like I said, 297. I was about 32% body fat. And my idea was to run 4 miles for my first run. I didn't know how bad it's gonna hurt me. I used to run before I was fat, and I was like, I can do this. I ran a 1/4 mile and walked home. I walked home and sat on my couch and cried. I went to my mom's house, who was about maybe 20 minutes down the road, and cried again in her couch, saying, man, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just got somebody pregnant. My life was just, I was making $1,000 a month. My rent was $810 a month. And my mind just kept with me. And kept, you're not good enough, man. This isn't for you, man. These guys are the baddest motherfuckers on the planet Earth. You're not that. And what it was, and it's kind of funny, I was obsessed with Rocky 1 in particular. And when I was a kid, I'd come home every day and I watched this show, Rocky. And I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. Round 14 f***ed me up like nobody's business. Why? The song came on. When I bought the pull-up record, I listened to the song for 17 hours. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And I'm able to visualize and dream like nobody's business. And I know that I can create a vision that many people can't. And I work for it. So the vision I had was when Apollo Creed beat the out of Rocky, beat the out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, that was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, everything about him. And Rocky Apollo beat the shit out of him. He was in that corner, and everybody was saying, stay the down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the Apollo Creed was champ. He was the best. Rocky had taken his soul, had literally taken his soul. His head goes down. He looks at him like, what the are you? I wanted to be that, not Rocky. I wanted to be the guy that people looked at. I don't care if you liked me or didn't like. I don't care. But said, this motherfucker's gonna keep coming after whatever the is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. So that is, I kept picturing me falling down and getting up, and every motherfucker called me nigger. I was dumb. Even myself, I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going a distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance. I'll tell you this, I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like, my God, they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as f***ed up as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. Your upbringing, your mom and dad, your society, the way you were raised, it hit it better than mine. You weren't the only black kid, or there was like 5 in a school. You know, I can't hide. Going through buds, I was the only black kid. You can't hide. But I started realizing, just because I look different than you, a lot of you motherfuckers can't hide either. So it started giving me courage through watching people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it though. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so tough, it was so wrong, it was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare, a whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles, it was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You had the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't have to learn, they didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what now, from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that. Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
That's such an important point when you're talking about the working out, because a lot of people, when they think about working out, they think of it as being a physical thing.
Right, no. I did it for mental.
Yeah.
People always say, my God, like, no, don't look at it like, I didn't care about losing weight. I didn't care about being the fastest person. I wasn't making the Olympics. I wasn't going to pros. I could barely read and write when I was in a junior in high school. I wasn't going anywhere. I saw working out as a way for me to build calluses on my mind. I had to callous over the victim's mentality. So I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I got to start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's going to build me. That looks uncomfortable.
That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't want to do that. So I made this long list of things I don't want to do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hang on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem. I watched a lot of movies, and I was really big into visualization. And I always equated working out to struggle. And I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up with I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. Start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. That's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how it started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life. My whole life. I mean, I don't know if people believe in God or what. I don't care what you believe in. There's been this unrelenting voice in my head. We all have this voice. It's the right or wrong voice. And a lot of times that voice guides us into comfort. And my voice guided me into comfort a lot. But I have this other voice I heard my whole life saying, hey, motherfucker, what are you doing? Nah, man, we got to go over here. We got to go over here to that rock pile over in the corner where nobody's at. That's where victory's at. We're over there in that corner. So this voice was giving me all these answers. I wasn't a real smart kid growing up, but I had this crazy voice in my head saying, over there is where the answers are. And I didn't want to listen to it because over there was pain. Over there was me looking in the mirror. Over there was me being accountable for all these things I went through my life. Even though people put them on me, it's now mine to own. And I didn't want to go over there by myself, but I had to. And this voice was guiding me there. It's God, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it was in me. I was trying to find myself through a character. I was making different hairstyles and sagging my pants, and I was off. I was off, man. I was a clown. I was a clown. And I was like, this is not where you're supposed to be in life, man. I always fixed the things on the surface. So if I couldn't read and write, I learned to read and write. I would always fix these things on the surface level. And so whenever something hard would raise its ugly head, I didn't have any kind of tools to handle it. I'm like, man, I thought I fixed this already, man. But no, I didn't go deep into the dungeon of my soul to say, okay, what is making you a quitter? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? And so that's why I kept on quitting and going back to start, or not knowing how to get through hard times. And that's why I always tell people, I'm not a theorist. I didn't study, I didn't study a book. I literally put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in a fire repeatedly and repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And then you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I am. Yeah. I became that. I said, okay, we can't quit. We got to figure out why you are this pussy. Why are you this pussy, man? What is wrong with you? What's going on here? So I kept on putting the sword back in the daggone fire, and I just beat it harder. And I beat it harder. Before I knew it, I started realizing, all right, man, the brain is starting to get hard. The brain is starting to get hard. I'm no longer a theorist. I'm now a practitioner. I put it in hell. I dissected it while it's in hell, because you can't dissect anything in a normal environment. You can't dissect anything in 72-degree weather. You must put it in the freezer and freeze the out of it. And then you dissect it. Dissect it when it's miserable. Dissect the brain when all it's thinking about is, I need to get out of here, man. I want to get out of the freezer. Open the door. And you said, nah, 5 more seconds, man. 5 more seconds in the freezer. And that's when you start to pick that brain apart. And that's what all this stuff did to me. I kept on putting myself back into the freezer or the fire and beating the shit out of myself, mentally and physically. Before I knew it, this is what happened. So when you're going fucking hard and you're grinding all the time,
Like everybody knows, it's 24 hours in a day. But when I'm in the shower, it's a mental aid station. I don't think about shit. I don't think about people. I don't think about work. I don't think about running. I don't think about working out. When I'm in the car, another fucking mental aid station. When I'm eating, mental aid station. So people eat and they work and all this other shit, man. So I can grind hard because a lot of times, man, I'm in mental fucking aid stations. So many people, they need to have a 5K, a 10K. I need to have a course in front of me. I need to have something in front of me for me to get my up and do some shit. And that used to be me. And nowadays, you know, for the past 20-some years, I don't need purpose. And people miss out on this, man. The purpose, we're all looking for this golden purpose. Is it this? Is it that? Is it making money? Is it my family? Motherfucker, the purpose is you. We forget that. Every fucking day I wake up and I don't want to do some I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bitch today? Do you want to feel like a little bitch? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? So it's perform without purpose. You have to learn how to get up and do shit when you ain't got no fucking 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists. Your life fucking sucks. You're in the fucking dungeon. But guess what, motherfucker? I'm still going to get it. Because when that time comes, because the time is going to come, when that purpose is there, you'll be ready. But most of us aren't ready because we don't know how to do without having the golden carrot in front of us. And so people think that my knees are bad from a lot of running, and they're wrong. I wasn't born healthy. I wasn't born with some great body alignment, some great, you know, I have sickle cell, I have all kind of shit. I have all kind of health issues, you know, all kind of, so I had a choice to make. And the choice was, you know, growing up, you know, okay, this hurts, that hurts. We can just sit down and do nothing. Or we can see how far we can push the human body. So on that journey, as I started getting more and more into my mind and start realizing that what I'm capable of doing, my mind got stronger. So the pain in my knees, while it sucked, I've been doing it for so long. It was like, it became my new norm. Like, okay, my knees hurt, fuck it. Stop, you know, and I call it like stop feeling sorry for yourself, but you sometimes have to ignore your feelings. My decision was to be the best person I could. And I basically, a lot of mornings I wake up and say, fuck your feelings. And that doesn't mean like, you know, don't take it literally, fuck your feelings, but sometimes you have to go beyond what you're feeling. I got to a point in my life where I realized this is life. And so I move on past things real quick. So people are like, oh my God, what are you going to do, David, if you can't run? Motherfucker, I'll swim. Or I'll go to college, or I'll do something else. This this isn't my life. So I'm very aware how quick life can take shit from you. And I've always prepared my mind for the next chapter. And what happened with me was I started this thing called front loading. So when I was young, I used to be a little piece of shit. You know, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. But the second I got my head out of my ass and I realized, man, you can achieve a lot of shit if you get off your ass, you start moving and you start motivating yourself. Start becoming a self-motivator. So I started front loading. And front loading is people are like, man, you've done so much by 47 because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring me. So my military resume is fat. You know, I did a lot in the military. I did a lot outside the military. I've made money. I've done almost every race out there, hard race in the world. I've broken pull-up records. I've done a lot of shit. So when these bad times come, and also not like only that, like work your ass off so you can enjoy. Yeah, you're taking a shot. You know, you may not live to be old, but what if you do? And you worked your ass off when you were able, and you were able to fucking get up early, able to grind. If you front load it properly, the back half of your fucking life is money. And that's what I did. The second I realized that, man, you are a piece of shit, we got to get going. Because at 47, man, you're not going to be able to do any of this shit. 50, whatever you are. So I front loaded. So all these bad things that have happened to me, I sit back and go, man, how are you handling this so well? Motherfucker, I've done it. I front loaded. I have the money I need. I have the success I need. I have the determination, the willpower, and also the pride in myself. So when I wake up every morning, I know who the fuck I am. I front loaded perfectly. So I don't care what's taken from me. When Kobe retired that last game, he like 60 points or some shit. He walked off the court. He didn't fucking cry. He said, oh my God, I'm gonna miss the sport. What the He walked off. He gave everything he could. Man, when you give what I've given, and motherfucker say, oh, you don't fucking know shit. Which makes me who I am. I've given everything. People make, oh, you ran on fucked up knees, you taped your feet up, you did blah, blah. You had 2 heart surgeries, you kept on going. Yep, sure did. I had somewhere to go. I had somewhere to go, and I got there. And buddy, when mother tell you can take a break now, hey, you're fucked. As long as my knees are halfway worked, I got to run. You telling me, man, maybe a chance I can't run no more? Give me an excuse to do shit, but as long as I have no excuse, I gotta do it. But I was happy where I was. I gave everything. I gave everything to who I am, and that's why people. Oh, I don't believe that. Don't believe it. I gave everything, and when you give everything, man, you have no regret. People didn't understand me. People don't understand me now. I don't give a I know exactly what I was doing. I'm not a masochist. I'm not crazy. I'm not this and that. People try to title me and label me. No, I had something to fucking do. I studied the darkness. You find no answers in the light. None. It's too happy. It's too nice. And we don't need to be taught how to live in happiness. That just comes naturally to us. Happy moments, but the dark times, man, you can't get there unless you put yourself there. Life will take you there. But when you get into those dark moments, that's why people, how are you able, man, I couldn't fucking read and write till I was a junior in high school. How are you able to write like this, man? Motherfucker. I go to such places in my mind and I study the darkness. Like, it's not just physical. When I was growing up and I saw my mom getting beat and I got beat and I was some stuttering little black kid in an all-white school and I'm on stage and I gotta say one fucking line in front of fucking 15 people and I walk off stage kind of fucking stutter. All those insecurities and all those fucking things, man. I used to go home and cry. I'm like, oh my God, man, I'm fucked up. I'm so fucked up. Hang on, man. As I got older, we gotta study this shit, man. The only way we're gonna get through this is if we study it. So every time I'm in a dark moment and life's around me, whether it be physical or just life, I get in it, man, with a fucking pen and paper. I'm like, okay, this fucking sucks. I can feel like I'm fucking losing my shit. But let's fucking study this. Let's come out of this motherfucker genius. You know, I studied the black matter of the mind.